Along with individual experts, Surgeon Masters brings you life improvement strategies in 10 minutes. These proven principles and strategies are easy to learn and can be applied immediately, allowing you to practice your best. Here's your host, Jeff Smith.
On this episode of the Surgeon Masters mini podcast, I have with me Dr. Nicholette Kasman, also who has a master's in positive psychology and a pediatric cardiac anesthesiologist, trained coach, and holder of that master's degree in positive psychology. I'm so excited. Welcome, Nicholette.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I'm thrilled to be here.
So help me and hopefully other listeners that are interested integrate the concept of positive psychology and what got you interested in that.
Well, I was drawn to positive psychology because I wanted to find solutions for the people working in the operating room. Just as there's a big difference between the absence of illness and health, there's a difference between flourishing and simply not suffering. And so the applied positive psychology is a study of what are those things that contribute to people actually flourishing? What's the evidence there?
I greatly appreciate that topic and you chatting with us today, because it just seems like so often we get drawn immediately into the negative or the fixing or the problems. Maybe that's our training. Maybe that's who's drawn to medicine. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's a very human tendency to have a negativity bias. We are all programmed to survive, and it's not necessarily our tendency to lean into our strengths. But one of the things that's interesting, a sort of interesting paradox about being human, is that although we're constantly looking to fix ourselves and our problems, our greatest area for growth is really to lean into our strengths. And a lot of the joy in learning comes from when we're learning in an area of strength.
I think I might understand where you're going, but tell me how, surgeons and particularly busy surgeons who are trying to get snippets of information in just 10 minutes, tell us how it applies to them.
Well, this is all very applicable to life in the operating room because I used the master's in applied positive psychology to transform the operating room that I was working in. And I work with brilliant, brilliant surgeons who are outstanding at what they do. And they are driven to excellence, which is a very worthwhile goal. But knowing how to achieve excellence in the operating room, sometimes, again, we lean on that negativity bias of trying to fix all the problems around us. And that can lead people working with someone who's focused on excellence to feel a little bit browbeaten and unseen. And when you train somebody to look for their strengths, their own strengths and the strengths of the people around them, people start to feel seen and they feel engaged and they become part of the team in a really deep and meaningful way. And that is the foundation of psychological safety and really outstanding clinical work.
Excellent. So I hear you wanting to share some examples of how that could be applied to an operating room today.
One of the easiest ways to look for strengths in people is to see when they start getting excited and when they are talking about something that they are naturally interested in and engaged in and good at. And when you start specifically naming what you see when somebody starts talking about something that energizes them, they feel seen. And when they feel seen, they feel like they matter. And then there's a foundation of connection there upon which you can really do some interesting work.
And so pointing that out and looking for it sounds like.
Yes, learning to lean into strengths is a hugely transformative process. It sounds simple and it's so revolutionary because it's so powerful.
And it sounds different than what the environment maybe was before you introduced this or in a lot of our experiences or training. So tell us some of the things, the way we could apply this and our listeners could apply this in the very near future.
So I think one of the basic things you have to do if you're going to start working with strengths is to develop a vocabulary of strengths, to learn what are strengths. And there are strengths everywhere. There are infinite strengths. There are some really wonderful available strengths surveys you can use the VIA Character Strength Survey is available online. It's free, and that opens you up to 24 documented character strengths that start to develop that vocabulary. Gallup's Strengths Finder is also a really good strengths survey that helps you to develop some language around seeing and identifying what strengths are. Then you can start to see them in yourselves and other people.
And so I see in the operating room, I see this as you're interacting with a scrub tech, a student, a resident, a colleague, circulator, like all sorts of people in our OR environment. Give us a little bit more of kind of the how-to as well as that vocabulary.
I think medicine can be a very lonely place, especially for people who are aimed at excellence and brilliance. It's very hard to achieve the degree of excellence that everybody is aiming for. And that sense of interconnectedness and the ability to work together to do something greater than ourselves, and knowing that your team is there for you in a really profound way to meet you in that moment of stress with what you need and that you can communicate well, all depends upon interconnectedness. And so, even every single day, no matter what I'm doing in the operating room, when I'm working with a nurse or a tech or a student or a fellow or a surgeon, pointing out to them moments when I see them do something well really changes the tenor of the room. And it makes us a tighter team. And it starts to energize people because they see that they are part of this larger process, that largely it's the surgeon who's leading, but they feel included in it. And then they feel like it's safe to contribute and also to point out those moments when they sometimes do a necessary and fabulous save.
Fantastic. So I'm sure with your background and your interest in this subject, you could share a lot more, and maybe we'll do that in a longer podcast in the future. But maybe you could just sort of bring it home as kind of what you maybe hope people might try out as sort of a step of making progress in this area.
I think the two most basic things you can do are start to develop some vocabulary around strengths. And so taking a strengths survey like the VIA or the Gallup Strengths Finder is a great thing to do. It just opens your mind. And then my favorite is just listening for energy, listening in conversation to what people get excited about, and then asking them about it and pointing out to them, wow, that's something that you're really good at.
Fantastic. Increasing our strengths vocabulary and also listening and being aware of it in our work environment. Or you want to restate that if I didn't nail it?
No, I think you did nail it. It's amazing how seeing people's strengths makes them feel like they matter, and living in a place of strength and encouraging other people to see their strengths just amplifies energy.
Thank you so much, Nicholette.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
There you have it. In less than 10 minutes, this is Jeff Smith along with Dr. Nicholette Kasman. Until the next episode of Life Improvement Strategies for the Surgeon Who Wants More. Ciao.
Now, take 10 minutes and put your plan into action to practice your best.